to stand up for wrestling. I am here to give the fans a voice.
If you're not watching the promotion right now, you're missing out on something I think that could possibly shape the future of wrestling, and I mean this wholeheartedly, for the next 5 to 10 years.
Nobody can touch me. Nobody is better than Adam Cole.
This company is still existing, yet they have to do this at the 11th hour to make sure that they run these tapings. I thought TNA was going to be different, and I guess not.
This is truly the Kevin Owens Show.
Pentagon Jr. is the wind beneath my wings. The only thing that we get at 10 for sure, maybe at 11, is Ken Shamrock showing up.
Hey guys, first time call, long time listener, but long time fan. I heard y'all having Matt Hardy today. I'm super excited. But I also heard it was Gary's birthday. Matt, what are you getting Gary for his birthday today?
My gift is too enormous to be confined by a material possession. I am going to expunge the evil enigma from our family tree forever. I am going to restore honor to the Hardy name. That is why I have invited all of you here, because these events must be documented. So today, at sunset, the final deletion takes place. Senior Benjamin, prepare the battlefield for massacre.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Vieser.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling to the Max, episode 202, part 2. And we are brought to you by the W2M Network and in partnership with LastWordOnSports.com, ForumMania.com. And he did not get deleted today, but it is his birthday. Happy birthday, Gary.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it is interesting being the age I am now, the age that Jesus was when he was killed. Let's just hope I don't get killed at 33 years old, because I will rise again. But,
oh boy.
You know, we'll talk about Walking Dead later. Yeah. I kid. But no, I appreciate the birthday wishes, and thank you to everybody that did wish me a happy birthday. It's been a pretty good one. I mean, had a good time, got some gifts, and just been, nice, for once, to be able to sit back and, just appreciate the fact that you got so many people that care about you. It's nice to know. I really do appreciate that. But, just to let everybody know what we're doing on the show today, besides me gloating about my birthday, let's talk about the fact that, guys, we are going to jump into some big topics today. Not only are we going to talk about Brock Lesnar's opponent coming up at SummerSlam, but we're also going to talk a little bit about TNA. They have got a lot of things going on. Not only have they got a high rating this week, but they are also changing nights. We're going to get into that and our thoughts on that. Plus, we're going to talk Super J Cup. We're talking Cruiserweight Classic and the bracketology thing going on there. Also talking about NXT, Lucha Underground, and TNA Impact in full. Lots of great stuff, including a final deletion that you may even hear a little bit of that actual final deletion on this show tonight. Trust me, we had a lot of fun with it. You heard a little in the intro. Sean's a little miffed because I didn't play more, but I was afraid that the intro was going to be way too long. But we may even get into that a little later. So we've got a lot of great stuff, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we've got a good show for everybody. I mean, Paul, anything going on with you this week?
No, I leave for Galveston on Sunday, but today I am tired as hell. So,
oh man. Hey, that's awesome. You get to go to Galveston. If no one's been to Galveston, or, if you're not a native Texan, you may not know much about Galveston. Galveston's kind of our beach besides the other really nice spring break beach that we have in this state. And I'm blanking on the name of it.
You thinking of Corpus Christi?
Not Corpus Christi, the one that all the kids go hang out at. I can't believe it. I'm forgetting. Anyway, there's another really nice one. Look up Texas beaches. There's only like 3 of them that are really
Not being
nice.
one of the kids, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, I was never one of the spring breakers who ran down to this place. But anyway, I'll think about it later. But yeah, I mean, that's cool. Going to Galveston, that's really cool, man. Lots of great stuff to do down there, lots of history, lots of, just enjoying the sand and just, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah, I haven't been to Galveston since I was very young. And if you're, once again, if you're not a native Texan, we had, they got hit by a real bad hurricane some years ago, and I still don't know if they've recovered. I know they've rebuilt a lot of stuff, but it's still probably a mess. And the BP, of course, with the oil spill down there too.
That's right. So once again, I mean, lots of crazy stuff happening down in that area. I mean, I'm going to actually go down there, spend the night before I go on my cruise in October.
Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a place that I've not got to stay a long period of time, but I have been there, so really cool. But Sean, I mean, anything going on with you? I know you've had a pretty busy week.
Well, the one negative about the football season sort of starting to be in swing again is that I've got to do all these interviews with fans or writers or whatever to get us ready for those previews and scheduling interviews. I had to do about 4 in one day yesterday. I had to do one tonight, and yeah, work on top of that, and it's inventory at work. So they are insane right now about, oh my God, you gotta do this. Oh my God, you gotta do that. And apparently we don't have people that are coming to help us count stuff. So they're trying to get us to get everything outside of the stock room, and it just sucks sometimes.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, that's a pain. Not only are you so busy with all the podcasting stuff, but then you have to go to work and deal with just a lot of people yelling at you. That is not fun, man. You need a vacation too. Why don't you take off and go to Galveston with Paul?
Oh man, if I had the money just to get to Galveston.
Although you do live in Miami, so I think you're pretty set on beaches. I think you're okay.
Much cleaner water up there too, I imagine.
Yeah,
exactly.
I only have to go an hour to get to the beach.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely lucky on that front. But it's kind of funny. One of the most popular beaches in Texas is the one I forgot was South Padre Island, Paul.
Ah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the place that all the kids go to when it's not in season. It's a ghost town, but trust me, that's the place to go if you come to Texas to go to a beach, which I don't really recommend if you don't have to. I'd go to Florida, go to California. It's nicer. But I just want to mention this. Being older now and learning in one day of being 33 years old, I just have to say this. There's a lot of fears with getting older. As you sit there and you realize how old you are, it's kind of terrifying, Sean, especially now that we're starting to get to that point. It's like, oh my God, we just imagine being that old. And so it's even more terrifying too, because you always hear all these scary things about people getting older. I'm terrified because I had a premonition maybe of me waking up in the middle of the night and my wife saying, "There's something wrong with you, and I'm going to spell it out for you." And I'm afraid to hear those 5 special order letters spelled out. So that's on down the line though. We all know about SAWFT, right? But anyway. Enough about that. I want to mention one more thing before you start the show. One more thing. I want to say thank you to Tom Reese. Not only did he wish me a happy birthday as well, awesome guy. Also is our New Japan guy. We love Tom on this podcast. You've heard him several times if you listen to any of our specials, any of this. But I just want to say this. I think I had a drink with him in my dreams the other night. So I really did. I had a dream, and I think it's his fault. I saw he was in an ale house on Facebook, went to bed, and then dreamed about hanging out with some guy looked just like Tom drinking. So thanks for the drink, Tom. Just want to appreciate it.
Cheers, Tom.
Yep.
Cheers, Tom.
All right, guys. Well, let's get this thing started for everybody. We actually want to talk wrestling on this podcast, right? So let's do it. Let's go ahead and jump into some quick hits. We've got lots of big news this week.
Hold on. There we go.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
All right, guys, let's start out with some TNA talk. Now, TNA, of course, had the final deletion, which we'll get into in this show. It was a big deal this week. Such a big deal that TNA had one of their biggest ratings when they had 400,000 plus watch their program on Pop TV. Now, that is a good thing for sure because we've seen the numbers be pretty low. I'm thrilled about this for TNA. Now, it makes you wonder the direction. You know, are they going to try to find ways to keep this going? Do more things like they did with the final deletion? Can they? Lots of questions like that. But I'll just say this. I mean, this is definitely a positive direction, especially if you're a TNA fan. You want to hear this good news. You know, that's really positive. Paul, I mean, I don't know. What do you think about this? Do you think they're going to kind of go in this direction now?
I really think this is probably a one-time spike, but it's good that something they invested a lot of time and effort into managed to get them a payout, at least in some way. Yeah, I mean, in the Twitter machine, even before Tuesday, was all kinds of hype about, oh my god, all these people have seen Final Deletion before it's aired, and they're freaking saying it's awesome, and blah, 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 you know. And they made a big hubbub about it, and it paid off. So, hats off to TNA. Social media wins for them here.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I was there on the Twitter machine while it was going on live, and everybody was just going nuts about the final deletion going on, and it felt like to me, this was one of those times where wrestling Twitter was all in accord, it seemed like, on one thing, and that usually never happens. There's always that segment that really hates something, or really doesn't like the way it's going, or thinks it's trash, or whatever. This was something that everybody was all making jokes, having fun. It was great. It was great to get to be there during that. And it really felt like if this doesn't spike TNA, nothing is going to. And it did help, obviously, even though you probably had a lot of people that probably only watched the final deletion on YouTube or something like that and didn't watch the whole show, which probably sucks for TNA. There could have been even bigger fandom that maybe went back and tried to find the show or whatever, but you know, this is a one-time thing. I think once the people that were watching figure out that you're just gonna get a regular wrestling show after this, it's gonna be hard to keep that 410,000 there.
Yeah, that was my big thing, is because once you get to next week and you maybe have some of those returning viewers and they just realize they're just getting a regular show, are they going to be discouraged? That's the biggest question here. And that's what makes me wonder if they may try to find other ways to do something similar. Now, you're not going to meet this. You know, it's just like, you know, making the film Titanic. You're not going to make another Titanic and get the same numbers. You can try, but it's not going to work. And that, I think, where you guys are coming from is probably the direction they have to go, because there's no way they can recreate this and keep the viewers coming. This is not Lucha Underground. They're not able to do this on a regular basis and keep the format that they already have. So I'm just glad we got something. I'm glad they got some eyes on their product again. It's been a while since they've done something significant like this. So we'll have to see where they do go. But, I mean, I think this is very positive, at least at this point. One thing that they are going to do, though, that is definitely going to change is they are going to change the night that their show airs. Now, we all know that they've been, you know, on Tuesday nights for a little while now on Pop TV. But now that SmackDown is moving to Tuesday nights live, they are going to be changing on the exact same week that SmackDown is changing to Tuesdays. And that is, of course, on July 21st, because SmackDown on the 19th is just not a good idea. So they are going to definitely change. I'm a little bit conflicted on this, Sean. You know me. I like to have a little bit of leeway before we get the podcast started. Now we have to watch another show before we start this podcast. It kind of bums me out. I wish it was on Wednesdays. I don't know about you. How do you feel about it?
I've said it the whole time after it was announced, which was so weird, because basically after we got the information about the rating, like, this news started coming up about the whole TNA moving again. And then all of a sudden, Impact themselves announced. They don't even wait. This is what's silly to me, and what's so, like, I know people are saying, they're preserving themselves. They're they're trying to like avoid any kind of negative whatever. Listen, it's only 1 hour of TNA that was going up against SmackDown, and you could have at least tried it for a month and see what happens. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it seem like they're not turning tail and running from Tuesday because SmackDown lowered their ratings. The problem you run into now is, hey, the NFL that lowers everybody's ratings, you're going to have to deal with them. And I get you're only going to have to deal with them for an hour and a half of your show because the Thursday night game doesn't start till like 8:30. But, you know, what they're doing is they're trying to get SmackDown wandering eyes people to turn on TNA. And I'm sorry, but Pop TV doesn't come up in the list of my channels that I randomly turn to if USA Network doesn't have wrestling on. I don't know. What about you, Paul? I mean, I don't think about Pop TV in my normal everyday life here.
I mean, I barely think about TNA most of the time in my normal everyday life, so if it wasn't for the podcast, I wouldn't watch it. But I'll say this much. I think it's probably a smarter move for them to get ahead of it. Look, we've seen them do this at least 3 or 4 times now. They've moved once to a Monday to try to compete. It failed miserably. I'm sure they are not eager to repeat that idea again. And you know, even though you're going up against what is essentially a B show, they know what's coming. It's the brand split. You have all the stuff swirling around SmackDown, trying to make it important again. I get they're trying to get ahead of it, and you know, I kind of give them a nod, you know, for doing that. But man, Thursday, why couldn't you just pick Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday would have been better because you're going August 9, which is the time that everybody knows you've been on for a long time. And you can go after Lucha Underground and the live airing of NXT. Now you'll be going up against Cruiserweight Classic, obviously, for a little while. But it's still, Wednesday nights would still be your night. Nothing else is running against you. And you don't have to deal with football. You don't have to deal with really any other sports except for the random basketball game or hockey game or baseball game that might be on or whatever. But like Thursday, and I remember specifically Spike TV moved them from Thursdays at one point because of the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you're getting way less ratings than you did on Spike, and this is not going to bother you? You know.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense. You guys are completely right on that. I mean, the NFL, and when, let's just be honest, any other sports event comes on a Thursday night, it's going to get buried. Yeah, sure, basketball, hockey come on Wednesday nights. I get it. But at least you're alleviating that whole NFL situation, which is a big deal. Trust me. Sean and I do a whole podcast about the NFL and college football, which also has games on Thursdays. It's a sport that people in the United States, at least, maybe if you're listening to us in the UK or South Africa or anywhere else, you don't really care about that. But here in the States, the NFL, even college football, are the biggest dogs in the game. It is our version of football. Trust me. So no one's watching anything else but that. So I just think that, you know, the smarter move is Wednesdays. Even if you trust me, I think even staying on Tuesdays would be a smarter move than moving to Thursday. At least, you know, I don't agree with it completely, but it's, to me, still smarter. So because you're still not going to get I think at first SmackDown is going to get a lot of viewers, but I could still see some drop off if SmackDown isn't what we hope it is. You know, so basically my point about TNA is, wish you would have made a better decision. That's all. Let's stick with another, talking about promotions. Let's talk about Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor is actually going to be doing something they haven't done in quite a while, a decade, in fact, and that's go to England. Now, we don't have a whole lot of details on this. We do have some live event dates, but that's about it. You know, this will be actually taking place in November on the 18th, 19th, and 20th, and that'll be all the live events they'll be holding in England. But I guess the most important thing here, Paul, is the fact that they are doing this, and it is something I think is smart because, you know, we all know that the UK loves wrestling, and it's kind of starting to, you know, be even hotter than ever. What do you think about this? This has to be a smart move for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I mean, arguably wherever they're going to go in England, that territory is just on fire right now. They're Rev Pro, Progress. You have all these promotions coming out of the woodwork and making very large names for themselves, and the talent also making very large name for themselves as well. So hopefully Ring of Honor can pair up with a Rev Pro or something like that who's worked with New Japan in the past, and maybe you can get some of their talent on your shows, and you can put on something really, really cool. But I think it all depends on where these shows are going to be. I'm sure they're going to stick more to the south side of England, looking at London and all that good stuff. So, yeah, but I'm pretty excited for this. This is it's kind of a big deal for him.
Yeah, this is great. This is a huge deal. This is awesome for them to be returning to England. I think a lot of people have been talking about why hadn't been going overseas for a long time, all this stuff, and this is pretty cool. It's glad that good thing that people in England get to see them and everything else.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm just excited to get a chance to see what the crowd reactions are going to be over there in the UK for the Ring of Honor talent. I think that let's be honest, around the world, that's one of the best places. I know, Paul, you made a great point. They are hot as ever right now for wrestling. And I think it also depends on what kind of stuff you bring to see what kind of crowd is going to come out for it. And I think Ring of Honor has got a good reputation. It's still in the States, still kind of wavers on, certain places that they go to. But I think in the UK and the presentation that they'll put on is great. Now, let's just hope that the Ring of Honor TV producers and the way they handle that actually comes over well when it comes to watching it on our TV. Mm-hmm. Because we've all seen, it was just not long ago at that pay-per-view, I think it was Best in the World, that crowd I think was excited, but you couldn't hear it. It just, and I worry about that. I want the UK to come out and, sound like the UK and not just sound like, oh, well, they don't care either. No, they care.
Yeah. I mean, I bought the DVD of the Ring of Honor show I went to back here in Dallas over WrestleMania weekend, and even so, BJ Whitmer, of course, comes out to do his promo for that night, and he gets pretty much booed out of the building. But we're mic'd so terribly, it just sounds like a smattering. It's really depressing. So yeah, Ring of Honor really needs to work on that for sure.
I totally agree. I've heard other people talk about it, and it does matter. I know Ring of Honor may say, well, this cost effective isn't. No, trust me, it's cost effective if you can get people to watch your show and say, dude, these people are behind these guys. Maybe I should be too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and talk about something that we really didn't get into last Monday. We probably could have got into this earlier in some earlier shows, but we're going to do it now. And that's Cody Rhodes. Now, there has been speculation, once again, this is just speculation, that maybe WWE is actually kind of working this whole Cody Rhodes thing. Now, it sounds kind of funny, and some people are saying, what the heck are you talking about? But if you kind of follow the trail and some of the things that are going on, maybe some of the clues here. We're not playing Blues Clues, but we could be maybe with the WB logo some places here. I think that, you could look at it and say that Cody Rhodes is doing a list of things on the indie circuit that are not only exciting for fans, but also things that are making Cody Rhodes as a singles wrestler on the indie circuit pretty darn hot. People are excited about Cody Rhodes. They want to see him wherever he's going. They want to see all the events he's going to be at, whatever indie place it is. Of course, Battle of Los Angeles is a big deal at PWG. And of course, we've seen him also wrestle and Evolve. All places that people are pretty excited about seeing wrestle. The storyline, though, here is that maybe he has a secret deal with WB where he completes a list, comes back to the WB hot as ever as an indie star, and does some things in the future with WB. Now, is this true? We don't know. Once again, all speculation. But Sean, to me, if it is true, I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
This would really be something unique as far as in modern day. Would Triple H offer this to other people that aren't Cody Rhodes? Would be interesting in the future. Joe Lanza was the one that kind of talked about this on the Voice of Wrestling podcast, so I want to give him credit. I don't want to just scout around and say that it didn't go to somebody. But what he brought up makes sense, that until he works or signs with a TNA, ROH, or Lucha Underground, or even, go straight to New Japan, that would prevent him from coming back to WWE in the fall or pretty soon after the brand split goes off. It's hard to believe that he's just out there released and doing this stuff, that perhaps, WWE is paying for his Evolve date on August 19th. Perhaps, there is a reason why he's only wrestling on these local indies or whatever, and he's doing bolas because, that's the one big thing that they're letting him do. To really get that star on him, because if you do great there and you get all these reports of, Cody Rhodes was one of the great talents at BOA this year, that's going to get you a lot of buzz, even before the DVD comes out. So, to me, I can buy this right now because there's nothing that goes against the contrary, saying we have heard nothing about Cody Rhodes signing with anyone or any kind of rumors of Cody Rhodes going anywhere, other than this is what he's doing right now. And honestly, it makes sense also from what he said, right? That he wanted to go out there and prove that he is better than what WWE had him slotted when he left. So this all sort of makes sense, and the Legends deal was sort of a farce made up by PW Insider, who likes to make who's in bed with WWE, and he got mad in quotations because he didn't want any of this possibly getting out there. So. It doesn't surprise me at the end of the day if this could be true.
I think there are pieces of this that line up correctly. Some things like Evolve being his first 2 dates that he gets to work outside of his WWE contract. I think that fits very well. Not to mention he's got 2 incredible matchups lined up ahead of him there, if I'm going to do some shameless plugging here. On the 19th, he's facing Zack Sabre Jr., and on the 20th, he's facing Chris Hero, who's on his list. So, sort of something there. But there's a lot of, he's going worldwide with this thing, too. He's doing a tour of England. He's wrestling Kurt Angle in the Northeast. He's wrestling sort of everywhere. I could believe it. I don't know if as much of what you're saying, though, lines up. The big thing and the big tip of the hat, if there is any to be had here, is with Evolve being his first 2 dates. And maybe possibly working more in the future with him, depending on how long this is going to go.
Yeah, that's the biggest question. And I don't know. I mean, it's going to be really curious, to see how this is all going to work out, because of the fact that if they wait too long, or how hot is Cody Rhodes really going to be? And that situation does concern you a little bit. But then again, I mean, maybe he could get even hotter. But I think if you are really doing this, and it really is a situation where you're trying to get him as hot as you can, you need to snag him up when he's hot as you can. You don't want any of that, newness to rub off, and then now he's just another guy on the indie circuit that does well for himself, but now he's we've seen him everywhere. Now It doesn't really matter, it's just another guy on the indies. No, you want him hot and fresh. That way people are like, oh wow, I'm so glad that Cody Rhodes is back in the WWE because he did so many great things in the indies, So I don't know.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, if you're not on Twitter, you should probably just get one to follow Cody Rhodes. His Twitter account, he's posting everything he's doing on there. He's got a great new shirt out too, but just following and keeping track of what he's doing on Twitter is one of the more interesting parts of my day, to be honest.
That's what's awesome about social media, is the fact that you can follow these guys and really feel like, you're a part of this. And, it's entertaining just as much as it is seeing these guys in the ring at times.
Yeah.
We got a few other interesting tidbits. We're going to jump into Super J Cup in a second here and a Cruiserweight Classic. Before we do, I'm going to mention a couple things. The first thing, this is kind of funny, is the fact that we have Joey Ryan, one guy that's pretty hot, Lucha Underground, of course, in the indie circuit right now. He has outsold all of TNA in merchandise.
So this past weekend, Pro Wrestling Tees had a big blowout sale for Independence Day here in the States. Joey Ryan mentioned this on Twitter. The Young Bucks talked about how much merch they sold, which is just absolutely insane. So, I mean, absolutely hilarious, but man, just that's incredible. I think that just shows you where independent wrestling is right now, is you can have guys go out there and just bank so much money just off t-shirts alone is insane.
It is. That is way amazing.
No, I just thought it was funny. Like, just wow, TNA got totally owned by someone on the. I mean, it shows you how. I mean, and TNA also has a deal with Pro Wrestling Tees, very much like New Japan and Ring of Honor do. That was one of the new things I think you could hear Josh Matthews talk about. That's recently new because remember TNA used to have their own store for a long time. Then all of a sudden, it started to click with me for a while that it's like, wait, we haven't heard TNA really talk about their store in a long time. And then all of a sudden, I think last week or maybe a couple weeks ago, Josh Matthews started talking about them in their Pro Wrestling Tees, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what happened.
They don't have Don West to show for the TNA shop anymore, that's why.
Oh, that would be awesome. Bring him back for that.
Oh, jeez. Don West. You gotta love it, I guess. But, at least, I'll say this. Joey Ryan, you can get the penis jokes over pretty well. I can't. I tried. So, let's talk about Chris Amon and CM Punk. Now, this has been a feud long going for a while now. Of course, if you don't know Chris Amon, of course, he is the doctor for WWE. That CM Punk trash talked all during that Colt Cabana podcast we all know about. This is, long going, and it's going to get even longer because they just announced a trial date, and you know how trials work usually. But May 21st of 2018 is that trial date. Now, if they reach a settlement before then, we won't have to get to that point. But as of now, it's going to be a long road, guys, and I don't know if we're going to get any answers.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just one of those things. It doesn't seem like CM Punk wants to settle. So I'd imagine he's okay with waiting till then. Let's see if he actually fights by then. I think that's the bigger question.
I still can't believe this is a thing. The podcast was 2 years ago now.
Wow. Has it really been that long?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, CM Punk wants to prove that he wasn't wrong, and I imagine if, like, CM Punk loses that thing and it shows how much crap he was talking was a bit unfounded or whatever, he was just talking a bunch of crap, and people are going to believe what they're going to believe. It's two years ago now, but I understand what, from the doctor's point of view, he wants to clear his name a bit. I'm sure he wanted it to be cleared a lot faster than this.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still subscribing Z-Packs.
That must be on the ban list by now.
Yeah. That's what Reigns did. Yeah.
Could you imagine if that's what comes out? Oh, Roman Reigns did a Z-Pack.
Shit.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, Paul, I mean, we got something interesting, too, when it comes to comics. You're the comics guy. Boom Studios and WWE have, made an agreement, and, they'll be working together on comic books and graphic novels.
That's kind of cool. Boom does a lot. They do a lot of stuff with, like, Adventure Time. They have their own titles that they make, of course, as well, too, but they have a lot of other sort of properties they license out, too. WWE's sort of a big deal, though. It's really cool.
Yeah, New Day are going to be the first ones. I think you can find the way the comic looks. I think Xavier Woods might have tweeted it out or whatever. So, pretty cool that, he's Xavier Woods is getting to be on all these things. Whether it's from his up, down, down thing or New Day, all that. So, it's pretty cool for him. And then WWE going to see if they can get comics back in the kids' hands,
Yeah. WWE, they're always working to spread their Raw and SmackDown shows everywhere in the world, and of course, now to do that, they also have joined forces with Digicel, which I don't know what the heck that is. Is that what is this, Sean?
That's a cell phone company, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Never heard of it. I was kind of curious.
It's one of those that's only in certain countries.
Ah, okay. No. So, at least that helps.
Like
people
Venezuela has Telcel. That's in Venezuela and certain parts of South America. So.
Okay, fair enough. Let's also talk about something else that's very interesting. Brock Lesnar has got a SummerSlam opponent, guys, and that opponent is Randy Orton. Wow. He's finally coming back, apparently. What do you think about this, Paul?
Really, it's the last big guy the WWE has left that he hasn't really faced yet. Hats off. I'm not incredibly looking forward to the match, although it does make for a very interesting what-if scenario, because we're looking back at like 2002, 2003, and if the WWE had things their way, these two guys would be, the top of the ladder right now.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like, I heard a lot of people discuss that, is this the smart thing to do with, we know how many suplexes Brock Lesnar does and how much that impacts the injury areas for Randy Orton. Maybe not bring him back, and his first match is against a guy that just does suplexes all the time.
Hey, this may be in Randy Orton's plan. Maybe he talked to WWE, requested to work Brock Lesnar. That way he could be like, hey, I'm getting paid and I get to be at home. You never know. Just saying. The guy did tear his shoulder carrying a trash bag.
Oh, I forgot to mention, along with that TNA thing, they announced the Bound for Glory series is coming back too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hate on that, and I can understand why, but maybe they can.
It's going to happen that same night too. It's only going to be an 8-person thing. It's going to start that night, and then no idea how long it's going to go. But I think it's like Drew Galloway, Matt Hardy, EC3, and James Storm might be the first 4 announced there.
Okay. Well, I'll have to keep following that and, see what they do actually, finalize with it. Let's jump into the Super J Cup. Now, we have finally got the announcements of this first round and everything that's taken place. Without me jumping into every single thing, I'm going to let you guys kind of highlight what you think is really cool and what you personally feel about it. So, Sean, what do you think about the Super J Cup and the way this has been kind of, rounded out?
Funny that New Japan uses the wild card for their own talent, but, not going to say that not cool to have Bushi in there. Look, I know that they're going to have other ROH people here for other matches or whatever, and I get that maybe ACH helps out in the junior tag tournament or whatever, but I still think that they should have had a regular ROH talent that you don't see all the time representing ROH, and not Matt Sydal, who we see all the time. Because as much as this is a tournament and you want people to win, it should also be about showcasing some of these guys, especially a guy like ACH, who you can bring along on other tours if you want, and get him more exposure and whatever. And it's not so much about seeing a guy. And like, as far as matchups go, it's really cool that you're going to get Matt Sydal in this, but I still think that it kind of stinks as far as ROH, and also Kadani's on record saying that he loves the ROH deal, but he wants to run New Japan by himself. New Japan is a show by itself in the U.S. without ROH in a 3,000, 4,000 seat building. So, I'm just saying this could be the start of something where what if New Japan takes off by itself? And, ROH isn't needed so much anymore. You need to start taking advantage of these things as you can get them, because this partnership is not, it's not like you're guaranteed it's going to last for years.
Yeah.
I think there are parts of that I can agree and disagree with. I don't know if New Japan could sell out a 4,000 seat arena here in the States. Maybe they could, especially I guess depending on the area. If you do like a New York or a Chicago or a Philly or a Los Angeles or something like that, but I don't know. A lot of people over here in the States love New Japan. I just don't know if they're going to be able to draw that many without having somebody like an ROH being able to sort of help you promote in areas they're already big in.
Right.
That being said, I agree with you about ECH.
I mean, Kaji Tomato getting to have a match in here is awesome. It's, this whole lineup of guys, I mean, a lot of them are, people we see a lot, or if you watch Noah, you see him a lot in a Taichi, or, Liger's going to be in this, like, Titan getting to be in there from CMLL. He's one of the guys that stood out for the Fantastica Mania shows when I watched it, so, I mean, anybody else that stands out to you?
Daisuke Harada, my God, the dude is a beast. He's so good. I'm really hoping they use this as an opportunity to sort of springboard and let him work, let him show off what he's capable of. And there's a very large part of me that hopes he makes it to the final, maybe against a Kushida or somebody like that, because I think those two would have dynamite match chemistry together. But man, a lot of these other guys, I mean, Ito, I know you watched DDT some, Sean. I've been a big fan of his for a while as well. But some of these other guys I haven't seen. I don't watch as much All Japan as I probably should. I mostly stick to their main events and their heavyweight scene because I'm a big Daisuke Sekimoto fan who works for Big Japan. And they have a deal currently going on between All Japan and Big Japan. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. So, but I mean, everybody else you kind of know. I mean, like Bushi and Taguchi and Liger and the standard New Japan contention everybody's pretty familiar with. But these guys from these other promotions, I think they're the ones to watch.
Yeah, they're the ones that you're going to want to check out because you probably haven't seen them before.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I think, give these folks a chance. You never know what's going to impress you. And something that we didn't get to talk about last time, but the Real Hero guys, they now have turned their thing that they used to do and putting it all in Daily Motion and all this stuff. They've made a Real Hero archive now where you can basically, it's like a Google Drive. And I used to have it pulled up, and now I don't necessarily have it right on. Okay, here we go.
I think I have it favorited too. I can share it in the Facebook group if people are interested.
It's just, it's a bunch of gibberish. So, but it's a Google Drive, and it's just a Real Hero archive, and it has all the stuff from this year of All Japan, Big Japan, DDT, Dragon Gate, some Joshi stuff, but Stardom World has their own service. Pro Wrestling Noah and Wrestle One, and it has like old programs and magazines too from back in the day from Japan and all that stuff. So like there is stuff here. If you want to get in, if you watch Super J-Cup, then which starts during that little time period between the first show and the second show, the G1, and you watch some of this and you go, oh man, I really like this match. I liked Kaiji Tomato, or I liked Daisuke Harada, and I want to watch some of his matches. You can watch everything from Noah from this year and just go in either our group or go in the Classic Japanese Wrestling group and ask people around, hey, what are some great Daisuke Harada matches? And if you say it's from this year, you can get it there and just download the show and watch it, And you never know, you might like some of the guys you see outside from just that one person. So it's always good to check out some Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, and if Paul posts that or anybody does, that'd be great. That way anybody listening can go check that out on our Facebook page, Wrestling to the Max. Go check it out, and lots of great stuff on there anyway, so add that too. One last thing we're going to talk about in quick hits. We need to talk about the Cruiserweight Classic and the bracketology that was basically broken down this last Wednesday, and which was really cool with Corey Graves doing that. This was something that I think was definitely an awesome introduction into it before we actually jump into things full swing next Wednesday. So, Paul, I mean, looking at that, what are you thinking about this whole bracket?
First off, if you haven't watched the Cruiserweight Classic bracketology thing on the WWE Network, I highly recommend it. It's a very pure sports approach to a WWE tournament, and it's very, very interesting. They do video packages highlighting some of the bigger names that they have. They have Corey Graves go over some of the more interesting matches in the brackets. It's all very, like, it feels very legitimate, and it's kind of cool. They talk about the weight limit and all this other stuff. They even have a nice sit down with TJ Perkins, who really, I think, came across as somebody you could get behind very easily. But you look at this bracket, and I think a lot of the first round matchups, if you know who the stars are who it seems like WWE is interested in seeing succeed in this, I think your winners are pretty easy to pick in the first round. It's after the first round where things get very interesting.
Yeah, and that's going to certainly be something to look out for. Obviously, that first round's been taped, so hopefully, we're going to do a bracketology thing ourselves here in the rest of the Max Facebook group, which you can go join. Hopefully, if you have read the spoilers, please do not join our little bracket thing, because it's going to kind of ruin that. But even then, even if you do know, go into that second round, which hasn't been taped yet or whatever, it's going to be interesting to see, what they do with like a Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, which I can kind of assume Gargano's going to win. It seems like, I think that Gargano will probably be one of those guys that goes far, but there's other matchups it's going to be interesting to see what they do after this first round. But all the names that are probably going to go through. And then, like, the big thing they did with Brian Kendrick, you'd imagine that he might last for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just because he's one of the guys that they told a big story about in that bracketology thing. I really enjoyed it. It's just 1 hour. It goes by. They highlight some of the big talents. They go on a big thing about Jack Gallagher and Zack Sabre Jr. And so, you get to really meet some of these guys if you've never seen them.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Brian Kendrick doing the sit-down thing, him and D-Bry trained together. So they get to tell some interesting stories about, they had their first match against each other. They've known each other for a very long time. So that part's all super interesting.
Yeah, plus Brian Kendrick looks so different from even the last time that we saw him. Even if you've watched Total Divas and you saw him training Eva Marie, he looks so different from then. He's got the longer hair with the freaking beard and everything. he looks like a homeless man. And he talked about having to be homeless for a bit.
I'm so used to watching him as Spanky way back in the mid-2000s, and he's just this super babyface kid, and just seeing him with like the grizzled, like the crazy long beard, it's so weird. Yeah. Also, two things. Johnny Gargano, hats off, he's getting married, I think, this week. And secondly, he favorited a tweet that I made about him, so thumbs up.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and it's cool to know that he said that him and Tommaso Ciampa have really become friends because of NXT making them a tag team. And now they've gone and been a tag team everywhere else, and now that's like his best friend.
Yeah.
So sometimes those things can work out. And apparently, breaking news, Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt is no longer the main event of UFC 200 now. It has now been changed to the Miesha Tate fight. So, I don't know what happened here, but geez, I guess
switch
they don't
to something you can get build out of in the long term for UFC, because whoever wins that's facing Rousey for sure.
Yeah, exactly, and they don't have to pimp a WWE superstar being in their main event either.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which that's part of the deal. They have to announce him as WWE superstar Brock Lesnar. So, and he has to come out to his music.
Man, there's gonna be some booze coming down for that guy.
If Paul Heyman comes out, man, that's gonna be amazing.
I'd mark.
Man, I would let Paul Heyman cut a promo right there if I was UFC.
Let him do the ring intro. Forget Bruce Buffer.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be golden. Will they let that happen? I'm not and I just don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. And we'll have to see what all takes place. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that fight's going to last under 2 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, that's all they're talking about.
Yeah, I heard Jim Ross this week say, "Hey, if you want to bet the under, it's going to cost you $200 to win $100." So. crazy.
I know, but I mean, I wonder if that's going to be a shock to Brock. Like, I guess since this is the last time we'll get to talk about it before the fight on Saturday, it's just like Brock seems like he's really enjoying himself, and I wonder if he goes back to WWE, win or lose, and it kind of starts becoming a thing that he doesn't find as interesting. You know, especially if he wins.
Yeah. If he loses, I don't know.
He loses, he might feel trapped, like, oh crap, this is all I can do now, or whatever, you know.
Exactly. So, lots of interesting stuff coming up. That'll make our show even interesting, more interesting. But that pretty much wraps up our news this week, guys. A lot of it. Sorry, it kind of went long, but hey, a lot of this is very important to the world of wrestling, and we want you guys to be all notified of everything that's going on. All right, guys. Well, we're going to jump into some NXT next, and we'll be right back with that.
All right, hold on. Oh, I gotta find this thing now for some reason. Oh, there you go.
WWE Developmental NXT.
All right, NXT this week started off with Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, and let me tell you, a damn good match happened here. Enjoyed the heck out of it. Alexa Bliss probably, again, I mean, I know I said it last week, but again, another terrific match out of Alexa Bliss, who keeps improving. Bayley obviously wins, as you would expect, but I mean, still, she made her fight for it.
I really, really enjoyed this match. I think Alexa Bliss's progress is on full display here. The double knees into the roll forward into the backward doubles knees, it looked brutal. She also hits Bayley with a super impressive forearm too. That they both do a great job of making it seem like Bayley just got knocked the F out. But I mean, Bayley's gonna go sort of on a similar streak that she got last year going into Brooklyn for her rematch which we're all assuming her rematch with Asuka. So, first match in the books, absolute, when Bayley leaves, I think Alexa Bliss is really gonna get her chance to shine.
Yeah, but I think she's also shown enough that if they wanted to call Alexa Bliss up eventually to do that whole splitting the women's division thing, I think she certainly proved it. And then we also get, it's going to be Nia and Bayley first before we get to Bayley and Asuka.
Yeah, and that's going to be really interesting. It's kind of funny. You made a great point about Alexa Bliss. We'll start with that. Just aggressive, just a great personality. Just everything well-rounded, and someone you could definitely see on either Raw or SmackDown. I think tomorrow. I full-heartedly believe in that, Paul. And I'm just, it's just so much proof is right there in your face. Now, is it a good idea to stick in NXT? I think it's fun. That's fine too. I don't think that there's any wrong choice with Bliss at this moment. Just a complete, well-rounded individual that's got a lot of talent who can really help any brand that is part of. Bayley, we're all expecting that move, and that's fine. I hope that when this all works out well, Nia Jax definitely deserves a lot. She's definitely put herself out there. Just to say this, I hope that she has a chance to win the NXT Women's Championship, just because I really feel like she not only has talent, but she's been at the cusp several times to win that title. I think it needs to happen. But once again, that's another star. I think we're talking about 3 stars right now at this point that could all move to the main roster, which Nia Jax is still green. Don't get me wrong. But I think that still moving to the main roster, you could kind of hide some of the stuff with her. I think the two we're talking about, Bayley and Bliss, though, they're ready to go tomorrow.
You got to be real careful with Nia. We're seeing the problem you had with calling up Dana Brooke too soon.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't think Nia's that. The thing is, you're not going to have Nia selling a kick that didn't happen yet. I think you're going to have Nia's too big. They can protect her really well. As difference from Dana Brooke.
Yeah, but I agree. I maybe I need to retract my statement a little bit. I mean, I think you're right, Sean. I think that's the direction I'm going. You could protect her, but on the other hand, thinking about it more, maybe a little bit more time in the oven to cook a little bit, get things well grounded, more time. But yeah, I think this is awesome. I mean, like I said, I mean, this match was great. I mean, really enjoyable.
Yeah, it was, and we go on to they had a nice video package for TM61. The Revival talked about how they're confident they're going to win tonight, and now the greatest catchphrase that might have come out of that is Dash, cling me, as they cling title belts. This is freaking awesome. That was great. And then we had the return of Rhino as he gores everyone in this match between the Hype Bros and Blake and Murphy, or at least gores Blake and Murphy. Man, we get the big return of Rhino. I wonder how long, if he's going to stick around for a while or not. And you also get a nice, really cool video package for Finn Balor and Shinsuke for their match, which has different guys talking about their friendship and their match and all that stuff. I mean, just, man, really nice. NXT does these well. Something I wish WWE would learn with when you bring up newer talent from NXT, but it is what it is.
You can't deny everything that WWE does with production is just excellent, top notch. I was shocked at the Ryback thing. It's Ryback. Oh my God, I'm going crazy. Rhino, Ryback is in Las Vegas doing things that are probably interesting as well. But Rhino was doing politics. I guess that didn't work out. I don't know. I haven't paid attention, but I'm glad to see him. It's just I hope everything went well with the politics side.
Maybe he had a nagging itch to just come in and gore a couple of guys. I mean, maybe politics was just pissing him off.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, it pisses me off. I tell you that. So yeah, I think I don't blame him. At least he has a way to let some of that bad energy go. I don't. So maybe tomorrow I'll find a few people to spear.
And then, Finn Balor and the Shinsuke thing, the video package is really well done. It's not every day a promotion gets to promote a dream match such as this, and especially one so far removed from their last contest where I think Finn has grown by leaps and bounds, and you get to see it in a very different atmosphere and a very different set of circumstances. So, I'm so pumped for that match. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, and then we get to the thing that lasts the last about 25 minutes of the show, which is a 2 out of 3 falls NXT Tag Team Title Championship match between the Revival and American Alpha, and you got Dash and Dawson working on legs. You got the American Alpha doing their stuff. I mean, this was just so freaking good. Great match. Each team gets a submission fall from working the leg, and you get an ankle lock tap out from Jason Jordan. So, hey, there again, using Kurt Angle's moves. And then we get Dash and Dawson doing a shatter machine on the apron. Ouch. And they win, as you would expect. And it looks like we know where American Alpha are going.
Poor Dash. He had to do the back end of the codebreaker just straight onto the apron. And, man, what a warrior that guy is. I'll tell you what, I want to talk about the Revival here a lot because I feel like, we all know, American Alpha is amazing. And once again, they come out dressed like the Steiner Brothers, which I really appreciate with the old paint splatter singlets and all that fun stuff. But you look at the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, they're not the guys who they don't stand out. They don't, at least looks wise. But the thing I think that's so nice that they get ring psychology and they get what they know they can bring to the table. And I think that's what makes them so great together as a tag team is they're not out there trying to do all these crazy modern day things. They're out there doing what they know they can do well. And and that's put together a really well done match and, hit the spots that they need to.
I think you can appreciate it, and I think, of course, smart wrestling fans and people that do appreciate pure wrestling and appreciate, guys who can put a match together and do it to full success. That's a good thing. It just really makes me wonder when they get to the casuals, to people who care about it to an extent, but maybe care about all the flash and all the other things that surround WWE superstars. How are they going to receive these guys? Eventually. Right now it's NXT. They don't have to worry about that as much.
Yeah, I mean,
I just hope that people get them when they do come to the main roster. When they do, Go ahead.
Oh no, I mean, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just saying. I hope people get them. I love them. I've always compared them to the Anderson, and they to me were so great in history, and I never really thought that we were going to see anything like that again. But now we're getting these two guys, and I appreciate what they do, just like Paul. I mean, but once again,
Yeah, I think you're cutting out there, Gary.
So, I mean, I just hope that other people do. I hope they can figure that out.
Yeah, I hope that people get them too, because they deserve to get some shine. I think they will. I think it's just one of those where you have enough flashy teams already on the main roster, and if you're going to bring up American Alpha, that's another sort of flashy team you're going to have. You have a team like the Revival that will be able to kind of ground things, and they'll bring it back to the throwback or whatever, and in their own way, I think people will kind of understand them and like them for that. And if anything else, you like them for the music that they come out to, which is awesome as well.
They go hard. Theme? Do you really like that theme?
I like that theme a lot.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised.
Especially like that "Say Yeah" thing at the beginning.
I guess surprisingly enough, I don't care for it. I'm surprised. I know, me and you usually agree a lot on music. That's why I'm just kind of surprised. I mean, maybe I'm just the dummy here. I don't know.
We don't all have to like it. It's okay. I mean, maybe it's one of those things that'll grow on you eventually. But
I just figure we always have to agree on everything, right?
I've gotten used to it, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite theme. They go hard all day and all night. It's really all you need to know.
They do.
It's positive. At least they're not soft.
I could totally, I could totally buy Dawson being one of the guy that just goes to the bar and drinks after they win.
They do. I mean, that's what they just look like, two nasty guys. They just don't have that standout presence that I think a Jason Jordan and Chad Gable do. And maybe there's not that classic, good-looking, clean-cut guy like those two are. But I mean, they're a very different team, and they're so good at a lot of the little things and match psychology and all this other stuff, that I think whenever you get them to the main roster, they're going to work well with every team, because these other teams are so big and flashy, and they're just these two nasty guys, and they do so well on promos too. The build to this match was great.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that. And you know what?
Jeez.
The internet hates Gary.
Yeah, the internet just hates Gary today. Or every day we do this podcast, for that matter, apparently. I don't even know if he got cut off or something happened. Oh, now I cut him off. Right when I said that, too. Yeah.
Where do you think this fits in the trilogy? Is this your favorite one out of all of them? You still like Dallas the best?
It's so hard, I don't know. Where do you think? Because I have that bias of being there for the one in Dallas. So
I think I like this one the best out of all of them.
Yeah, I think I like this one probably the best too. If the Dallas one was a little bit more cleaner, I think. Because I like the one from the previous takeover better. So I think this one might be the best one, and just you've got the big story with the Revival coming out winners, and now they get to be the tag team that kind of leads NXT, and we'll see what happens with American Alpha here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot
Uh-oh.
of the great teams in the wings, too. TM61, Authors of Pain, even some of the mid-card teams, Hype Bros and all these other guys, I think could easily step up and challenge, so.
Yeah, sure. Here we go. Gary is...
Yeah, stupid router. I hate it. Anyway, no, I'm sorry. I just want to finish my point. My point was I was bragging on Alexa Bliss and Bayley for being very well rounded and being people that you could hit the main roster. Now, I think the same way to an extent with these guys. Yeah, sure. I think the adjustment's a little different with them once again, but as style-wise, all the other things that they bring, diversity, I think they're very important. So that's all I wanted to say. So,
all right.
Well, that means we are moving to our next segment. Hope to God I can stay on the line for it. Lucha Underground. We'll see how many times my calls fail. But Lucha Underground is next, guys. So we'll be right back with that.
All right, Paul.
All right. So this is our first of 3 parts here for Ultima Lucha Dos. They decide to open up with all of the unique opportunity tournament that Dario Cueto said last week. So we opened the same way we opened last year's Ultima Lucha, with Cage taking on the Mac in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And this was just great. They beat the bejesus out of each other. They use all sorts of crazy, they break glass over each other. Some tables come out. They just, I really loved this match so much.
Yeah, how could you not? I mean, it was just, it's brutal. It's everything you love out of these two guys. And of course, Cage, I mean, to me, this, especially this season, has just been so amazing. Even though, sure, he is what he is. He's nothing super spectacular, but he's just the big monster. He is the machine, and that's what I love about it. And I just love, like you said, the glass breaking, things that not a lot of other promotions do outside of, sure, the indie promotions, but I'm talking about, some of the big 4 or 5 promotions don't do that a whole lot as much as they used to. So I love that they get to incorporate some of that and things like that. It was just a fun match to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they had some cool spots here and there. I didn't like the ending so much, but and surprising that Cage did not win. You had Mac going forward, so that was interesting too.
The finish is just a quick roll up, and I agree it's very anticlimactic, but I think it fits because the Mac had just murdered Cage with a big frog splash, and he kicked out, so he had to surprise him, and he does. I think it makes sense in context of the match, but it's kind of let down after everything else you have before the fall.
Yeah.
So the other match, the other side of the tournament here, is Son of Havoc taking on Tejano in a Boyle Heights bar fight, which was fun. It wasn't as good as the previous one, but you have broken bar stools and bull ropes and all sorts of fun stuff. And Tejano takes a backdrop on a bar, which just kind of implodes on itself, which is pretty cool. And Son of Havoc ends up coming out on top.
Can I say this? Matches like this are fun to watch. Trust me. It's better than being. It's good as at a bar, maybe not a barn. I think that this reminds me. I don't know if you guys remember some of those old arcade games where you'd have Street Fighter and things like that, where you'd be in a certain place and they'd have to break things, and it was just like, oh my god, this is pretty fun because you feel like you're a part of the environment. This is kind of like it, kind of watching. It was kind of fun to sit back and just, not be serious about it, just enjoy it, not think too much.
Yeah, this was really fun. You had, just them going around hitting each other with stuff. I love that moment where Son of Havoc backdrops Tejano into the bar, the whole bar thing, and everything breaks.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, it's awesome. It's great stuff. And again, I think this one I could kind of tell who's going to win more, but still the finish a little bit just wasn't like the big climactic thing you want.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, it's something you sort of suffer throughout the evening as well. But we move on to our final. Well, first they go over the rest of the matches that you're going to get for the next 2 weeks. So next week's another hour, and then the week after that is 2 hours. So just a quick programming note for you there for the Lucha Underground fans. And then we go to our main event, which is the Mac taking on Son of Havoc in another False Count Anywhere match. And he hypes up, Dario comes out, hypes up the unique opportunity, and makes the finals Fall Count Anywhere. So, because he loves violence. And Havoc and Max sort of go at it. 8 minutes. It sort of suffers, I think. Well, not even 8. Sorry, 5. I think it sort of suffers from, not only did both guys just beat the bejesus out of each other, but the other two matches are so good, and this just sort of felt like, I don't want to say they were phoning it in, but they took some pretty big bumps earlier. Maybe they're just like, I've had enough death,
But can you blame them? If you want to think psychological wise, I mean, that makes complete sense for this. Now, does it make sense for your fans to be watching it? I don't know. Because it is kind of anticlimactical. It really is. Everything we saw earlier was fun. It was energy. And then you get to this point and you're just kind of like, okay, sure. And it doesn't last a whole long time. It's not terrible. It's just not as climatic as you want it to be, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, again, not the greatest climactic finish or whatever, but still a pretty good match. I mean, you could kind of tell that being in the previous matches was starting to wear on him a little bit, but still, again, nice. You get the surprise of Son of Havoc winning, which I thought maybe the Mac would win here, so pretty cool.
Yeah, and Son of Havoc gets the choice from Dario between two different briefcases. One is $250,000 in cash. The other is a contract for a Lucha Underground title match, at Ultima Lucha 3. Havoc doesn't care for the money, so he takes the title shot, and Dario says he'll get it so long as he wins one more match. Dario, you bastard. And he offers the cash prize to the opponent that he will be facing if he wins. So Famous B comes out, and with him he's got a Lucha Libre legend in Dr. Wagner Jr., who comes out and beats the exhausted Son of Havoc in about 2 minutes and takes home that $250,000. And Famous B is just wonderful. The celebration he has with Wagner is just great. And they get all the booze, of course, because Son of Havoc is Lucha Underground's boy,
Yeah, for sure. This is what's fun about, of course, Lucha Underground, and, you feel bad for, of course, the guy that's kind of the hero. So, I mean, it makes sense, and it also kind of gets you going for the next, shows. So, I don't have a problem with it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was totally wrenching your heart out moment there, where you thought Son of Havoc was really going to have his day, and then, frickin' Dario Cueto doing his thing, just ripping your heart out again, and Dr. Wagner, of all people, the frickin' legend, comes out, and, it was a cool moment, because, obviously didn't expect Dr. Wagner to be there, and,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the ending.
Yep, that is. So, but yeah, I mean, very interesting. And of course, we can't wait for more Ultima Lucha. So we have another big stuff to talk about next week, of course, when it comes to that. But we are going to move on from here, and we are going to jump into some TNA Impact, and we'll also get to kind of elaborate more on some Final Deletion. We'll be right back with that.
The Final Deletion, Gary.
All in caps.
Yeah, exactly.
All in caps.
If I can... Damn it. Where'd it go?
No,
there
TNA music.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, Gary, I think we could definitely get some of that free music that they were using for the Final Deletion in the background.
I know. Hey, talking about music, my God, TNA, I think could be a good idea when you move to Thursday nights. Maybe you change your music. I don't know.
I don't mind this music, actually.
It's okay.
It's better than the last one.
It
Way
just
better than the last one.
Yeah, it is way better than the last one. When I hear this, I always think about, hey, I'm usually at the urinal when I hear this kind of music. So,
Well, Billy Corrigan can't give him any actual like Smashing Pumpkins music. They have to give him the the dead B-sides or whatever.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Jerk.
But for some reason, my computer decided it wanted to crap out on me here. So here we go. Hold on. So, this actually, there was still a TNA show that happened while we had the Final Deletion stuff going on. But we did start with a Final Deletion segment, which I did not know that Reby is Puerto Rican and that her last name is actually Reyes, and Senior Benjamin is actually her dad. So that's why she is talking Spanish in parts of the Final Deletion here. So they have the birthday party for Maxwell, and this is where you see Matt apparently takes the 1-year-old candle of Maxwell's and said that he's going to use this later in the Final Deletion, and also says that he has some amazing xylophone for Maxwell. If I'm Maxwell, I'm a little bit disappointed. I wanted like exploding fireworks coming out of the xylophone or whatever. I don't want just some xylophone. Even at 1 year old, he knows that's a BS toy.
It's an amazing xylophone, Sean. Like, it could have fireworks coming out of it. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it may play all Journey songs. You never know.
Yeah. Oh, God. I think a lot of people were singing "Don't Stop Believing" after this whole show.
I really love that Reby and Matt they're letting Maxwell's hair grow to look like Matt's. It like the second they dye that to another color, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I want to see that streak of white.
Yeah,
I just got to see it. I got to see it. I mean, I'm already jealous of the kid already. He's got nice hair. He probably makes more money out of TNA than I make in a year.
He's got the Baby Hardy brand, Twitter, everything.
The Hardy brand. I mean, that would be my dream to have the Hardy brand, but no, Maxwell. So anyway.
Well, that's your first Final Deletion 7. Let's get into the other Final Deletion 7 before we'll get to the actual Final Deletion whole thing at the end. But so after this, we have Jeff Hardy at his house. He's sitting there just hanging out with the guitar or whatever. And he's, this fleet of drones just decides to come in to Jeff's house after he answers the door. And he's like, "Oh, Brother Nero! So are you going to come to my, and Jeff just takes the guitar and pulls a Jeff Jarrett and decides he wants to destroy all the drones. He's like, "Oh, hell no, this ain't happening." And then Matt's like, "Well, I want to cordially invite you to the Final Deletion." And it's Star Wars at its finest with the hologram of Matt telling him about his invitation to the Final Deletion. And then Jeff gets on his dirt bike and he goes off, and Matt comes behind him with a lawnmower. He's like, "Oh, now I'm coming with the Final Deletion. I'm going to destroy you." And then he destroys his crop circles. Just going straight through the middle of them. Just, oh man.
It's at this moment that I'm wondering if I'm having a fever dream or not.
Did the sun get to you too much this summer? That's the question as you watch this, right?
Did I crack? Am I what's happening here? Who mows their lawn like that first? Like, Jeff, what are you doing, man?
Jeff's crazy,
Jeff's doing a different kind of line, I think, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh boy, yeah.
That's a weird kind of line. Let me
No, I tell you. And I'm sorry, but I love this because when Jeff goes, "Oh hell no," that whole thing, it made me think of films like Machete and things like that. Yeah, I just like oh I don't know, and just start smashing things, and then, of course the whole Power Rangers image, or Star Wars, or even to say of Matt. I mean, wow, this is something new. But interesting and kind of fun. I can't lie. It's just kind of crazy, man. I was tripping.
No, I enjoyed myself the entire time throughout all these segments. So
yeah,
so
they'd have been better though. I wish I'd have known that it was going to be like this, because I would have maybe called some Roman Reigns people up and said, "Hey, what did he take? Because I'm going to take it to watch this."
God, Gary. Holy crap.
Because obviously it had to be pretty good.
That's terrible. Wow, Roman Reigns, you can't even escape it in a segment that has nothing to do with the company he wrestles in. So we get a Mike Bennett and Maria coming out because Bennett is the greatest X Division champion ever, and he wants his title shot. He wants to do option C. Well, too bad for him that he's got Dixie telling him that no, that's not happening, because we're going to have an Ultimate X match that Mike Bennett has to win in order to be able to complete option C. And then you get Eddie Edwards, of course, former champion, Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, GJZ, Rockstar Spud, Braxton Sutter, and Mandrews, of course, Mark Andrews. You get to see Mark Andrews freaking jump off something ridiculous. And the rest of this was cool. I love the finish, though, with Mike Bennett, of course, not being as athletic as the other X Division guys, so he doesn't go with the I'm going to try to run off the ropes or shimmy through the ropes, whatever. I'm going to get a ladder, and it winds up being his doom. And Eddie Edwards is champion once again. What'd you think?
I think this is a fun wrinkle. I don't know. I mean, it keeps Mike Bennett having something to do for the short term that they had. I like Eddie Edwards with the X Division title. There's a part of me that kind of hopes he doesn't go for option C, but then again, there's a part of me that kind of does, because I think he has what it takes to be a world champion for TNA. That being said, the other guys in this match were great. Andrew Everett and Trevor Lee are absolutely amazing. Rockstar Spud eats one of the sickest kicks I think I've ever seen in my life from Braxton Sutter. The mouth is all bloody and everything. Just brutal. And the match starts off shaky. I think it really does find its way by the end. It's absolutely worth your time to go watch, guys.
Yeah, except they didn't give enough time. They kind of cut him on the time, like always.
Story of the X Division's life.
Yep.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, it's not so bad. I mean, like you said, Paul, it does kind of get better. I think the ending definitely helps. I really felt like Bennett was going to win. I didn't think that it was going to be anything different. I thought they were just putting another stumbling block for Bennett, and he was going to overcome it and just continue on. And for them to not have him do that, it makes that wrinkle matter. You get Edwards to be someone who actually matters again himself, whereas without that title, you kind of see him maybe getting lost in translation, just because of the fact that he's still doing a great job. He's just not anybody huge on his own. Let's just say it that way. So I think this is all good. I was happy with it. I didn't have one problem with it.
I did have a problem with the segment that concludes this whole thing with Bobby Lashley and all that happening. I really wish there was somebody that would actually just decide, you know what, I'm not cashing in option C. I'm just going to be the head of the X Division, and I think this would have been the perfect time for that. Honestly, to me, even if Eddie Edwards takes Lashley to the limit or whatever, he shouldn't beat Lashley. And he's not going to beat Lashley because we already know there's that story with Galloway and EC3, and there's going to be other challengers. And to me, it should have been about he wins it, and now he really wants to carry this X division. And it's kind of sucks that you have two guys that now all of a sudden neither one of them wanted to be X division champion. And you know what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to be both champion. They're going to have whichever one. If Lashley wins, he's just going to be, okay, well, I don't need this title. And, I could see Lashley defending both belts or whatever, but I think you're going to wind up getting a tournament for the X title again. And it's kind of like just, I don't know. I just think that it's just like the Money in the Bank. You've had times where the Money in the Bank guy doesn't win. You need to have one of these times where option C, you don't cash in option C. It should have been, okay, Mike Bennett wants to cash in option C. Well, I'm going to do the opposite because I really care about the X Division or whatever. To me, it still makes the X Division look like less than.
Yes, it does. Then that's kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, I kind of like the idea of a title versus title thing simply because I'm intrigued by what it can do for Lashley, you know?
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the case it's always been, because I remember when Austin Aries won, Hogan was like, well, you can't have both belts. We got to figure something out with the X Division title. And I think that's kind of been the case, but I don't think anybody's won it like that since Aries, so I don't know if they'll change it or not, but we'll have to see. That's kind of usually the case with everything in wrestling most of the time, other than Jay Lethal, who asks to be able to defend both belts. Most of the time you can't have them. So
yeah, I could see Lashley doing that, though. He's a prize fighter. He wants to prove he's the best consistently and be an asshole while he's doing it. Why not go and toss around a bunch of X Division guys for a while?
I agree with you, but the way he cut that promo makes it seem like he already feels like Eddie Edwards is beneath him, and he doesn't need to prove that all those guys are beneath him anyway. But you could tell the story of he gets eventually beat for that title or whatever, you know. And that's what's cool, is you can go different ways with this. So let's see what kind of way they decide to do this as it is. You get the King of the Mountain title match between Eli Drake and James Storm. I thought this was good for what it was. I mean, I know you don't like James Storm, and most of us are not big fans of Eli Drake either, but you do get a DQ here, which also kind of sucks.
Man, tell you what, I couldn't care less. I really couldn't.
Man.
That's all I got.
This really didn't matter. I hate to be the same way. I just there's nothing really redeeming from it, is there? I mean, maybe Sean, you can help us find the light on it.
Oh, there's not. I mean, this is just a kind of a good start to the feud, I guess. That's all I got out of it. These guys are going to keep going.
It's an average match.
Yeah. Jade and Marty Bell, I didn't really care for this that much. I mean, it's good for Jade to win and all that, but I don't know, this at times was borderline bad to me.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, lots of action, and using everything under the sun sometimes helps. But yeah, I mean, it was okay.
I'm no way invested in Marty Bell and TNA, so Jade just going in and putting a whooping on her, I was totally fine with. I did appreciate the throwback here, working in jeans and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that is really cool that they did that. They didn't have them go out there in wrestling attire. So the big segments, aside from the stuff with the X Division and Bobby Lashley, which I will say, Bobby Lashley getting good at really cutting these promos. He looks really good doing this. Something I know we've talked about this before, but he's really become a different guy in TNA. I have to wonder if Vince is even paying attention, if he sees what Lashley's become at all. So we get this storyline with the power struggle between Maria and Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan, which, oh my God, I wish Billy Corgan wasn't even there. He's so annoying, and it's just a pain in the ass every time he says anything. Maria acts like she's having a freaking seizure at one point. because she's so incensed about the fact that she should be the one running the entire company. Dixie doesn't know how to run the company. Kind of doing some shoot stuff about what people think about Dixie normally. And, you know, all this, the continuing this thing between Maria and Dixie Carter.
I'm so sick of people fighting for control over TNA. It seems like we get this feud once every year, maybe 2 years. I'm sick of seeing it. I'm so I don't care.
But isn't this kind of in Maria's wheelhouse, though?
I get it. It fits the character. That's great. How many times do we have to see this feud, though?
You're right about that. I do think Dixie's better face authority figure than she's a heel authority figure. But, you know, maybe this is me.
You know, it, like you guys said, if it's a character, it's just that, you know, really what's going to happen? I mean, you just think about it. I mean, is she going to find a way to make Dixie screw up more to take control? I don't know. I'm trying to think of how they can do it. Maybe they're trying to figure it out, but it's just something that I don't think is going to end up anything special. I think we're just kind of going to be running in circles on this one. I just don't see anything great coming out of it. But I mean, if anything else, you know, Dixie, you know, has a few tricks in her bag. I mean, I know she has a lady by the name of Lynch that can come help her at any time.
Oh, God, Gary, please stop reminding us of that existence.
I'm just letting you know that, you know, she has that in her back pocket if she wants to use it. No.
Boy.
You're sure right, Gary.
Just saying.
Let's just hope that stays on the lock and key. Please. So, the only other match we have to talk about here is the Bromans and the Decay. Before the show, or before the match happened, you have Rosemary caught on video in, you know, the Bromance cameras that they have making out with Bram.
Wait, that was Bram? I thought that was Paul.
Oh, boy.
You know, I was there backstage with EC3. We'd taken a limousine ride, and, you know, things get steamy in that TNA locker room, I tell you what.
You like those painted, like those painted face girls.
You know, I mean, Rosemary, you just got to reward good behavior on television.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Woo. Hey,
Yes, Bram.
You know?
Bram was there too. Yes.
Bram was there too.
Paul was the
stunt double. And you know, the only thing I don't like about this is I wish they would have played this out a little bit longer. I know that maybe this is going to be that Bram just was being Bram and he just made out with Rosemary because she's hot and he doesn't join Decay anyway. But, like, I don't like the whole, like, let's just immediately throw Dissension into the Decay when we really, I mean, they've been tag champions, and I know there's not a lot of tag teams out there in TNA, but I don't know, they could have dangled this carrot out there a little bit longer to me before you start getting Steve mad and they're going to say Rosemary was distracted or whatever, and that's why all this happened, and, you know.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused now because, I mean, well, I agree with you wholeheartedly on the, you know, possible dissension already. I don't like that. I think they're one of the biggest reasons why I enjoy watching TNA, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's a problem with me. But besides that, I mean, now I'm even more confused because I kind of feel like, who's Rosemary's side piece here? Is it Crazy Steve or Bram?
Yeah, poor Crazy Steve, you know.
Yeah.
Those,
so, I don't know.
Those guys that sit around and don't do anything, I mean, they don't get shit. They're always the bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been much more interested in, I think, having Bram go on like a search for a tag partner to try to fight these guys. Obviously, I don't think it would have ended in anybody great, but hopefully they could have brought in somebody new to help them out here. But, you know, I mean, you get the Bromans back in the challenge. You can stretch this out with Bram for a little while longer, so I think it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, it is. I'll just say this. I mean, let's just say they don't necessarily break up them. With the painted face, him and Abyss as a tag team, even if Crazy Steve's not in the picture, that's pretty mean.
That is a mean team.
Yeah, fair enough. You also got your boy EC3 and Drew Galloway are suspended because of their altercation last week. So EC3 cut a nice promo, and he's going to kick Galloway's ass next week. So that's all you need to know.
Friends and Evolve, bitter enemies in TNA. Gotta love it.
Yep. And now we bring you the final deletion, or our thoughts on it at least. We're also going to have clips here of the final deletion that Gary did not get to play in the intro, which is fine because that way they stay in your memory a little bit longer. Let's start off with that great thing with Matt and Jeff in the hologram deal.
Oh, hell no!
So we know that Brother Nero, he wants Brother Nero to be over here. I mean, so, like, what, I think that's actually part of the opening. So I'm going to play for you the first thing that is not in one of the opening segments, and then one of those segments that, I'm playing the director's cut version, by the way. I'm gonna play this segment, and then we'll start talking about it here.
Mira, Senor Benjamin, this is the remaining gasoline from our earlier landscaping escapades. Please, apply generously to the battlegrounds. It takes a lot of fuel to delete our brother Nero.
So, this is where Matt is telling Senior Benjamin to pour some gasoline on the battlefield because takes a lot to delete Brother Nero. So what did you guys think about like all this stuff with the Senior Benjamin being there? Rebby is speaking Spanish that turns out to be her dad and everything, and just this, and Matt speaking terrible broken Spanish, by the way, so it goes on with his character being broken. But, I mean, this was just great.
Matt's delivery of "it takes a lot of fuel to delete a Brother Nero" is just, it's so great in so many terrible ways. We haven't even gotten to the best part where he summons Jeff with a violin.
Oh God, yeah, he's friends with Stradivari or whatever.
That is a segment that will live in my mind forever.
I just thought, man, the devil went down to Georgia, and Matt's heart was right there to steal. Wow, that was pretty amazing, I have to admit. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts playing bad when Jeff shows up. I'm like, Jeff, leave.
Yeah, I mean, and he even summons him in an awesome way.
Yeah, but and also,
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come.
I had to play the him announcing that Brother Nero had come because it was freaking awesome.
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. Of course you knew he came. You played the violin to summon.
Yeah.
Come on, Matt.
Yeah, and I guess he knew he was coming too, because he probably heard the dirt bike. But
yeah, true that also.
I'm just saying,
kind of a dead giveaway.
Yeah, but the dangerous thing about that is Brother Nero is asking for danger riding that dirt bike again. If you ask me, he broke his leg once on that thing. And second of all, I love the referee showing up and being creeped out, and he's like, "Oh, you were the man of my premonition," and all this. I was like, "Wow, this is really getting weird."
This is also that former ROH ref that had the assault thing. So,
hey, TNA's where you go if you have any, assault things going on. I mean, hey, the Hebners are a part of this, So
I got no problem believing that Matt Hardy had a premonition about this match in real life. I have no problem believing that at all.
Exactly. I don't either. This is so. I mean, they have parts of this match, and then they do the whole that spot where Jeff gets in a tree and he's gonna swanton the half ladder, but
Screaming at no one, by the way.
Screaming, exactly. Jeff just,
God bless you, Jeff.
And then Matt pulls out frickin' a firework gun and starts shooting it at Jeff. But the best part is yet to come after that, too.
Oh, Brother Nero! It's over! Oh! Damn right, oh
Yes. Brother Nero, he thinks it's over, and then Jeff comes out with his own firework gun. Matt, the one time he gets out of character, like, oh shit.
Yeah. I love that too. It's like, it was gold. It really was. It's not only do they bring all the fun gimmicks that the Hardys usually bring, but now they're bringing fireworks into it. I mean, my God, it's amazing.
And the fireworks ended with the best line in the entire thing.
It's a dilapidated boat!
It's a dilapidated boat, guys. Did you even know the dilapidated boat was there? Because apparently Matt just having to find it.
Oh, jeez.
Man, Larry sends this home great in his review, too. Matt lit fireworks and shot them at Jeff, who used a trash can lid as a shield. Well, that's just a normal Friday in North Carolina.
Yeah.
God love you, Larry. You're the best, man.
And dilapidated boats, apparently.
Dilapidated boat. We need Jeff Hardy screaming "What's wrong with you?" as a drop for this show, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to do that. Yes, definitely.
I meant to play that part, and I think I missed it. But I think I have one more here for you guys, and that'll be it for the clips here.
Brother Nero has been flushed.
He tells him that Brother Nero's been flushed when he thinks he's in the water. And of course, you get Willow coming out of the water instead. Somehow by magic, Jeff is changed into Willow in the water, of all things. And it turns out that Senior Benjamin is freaking Willow. Oh, man. And then Jeff goes and beats him up, and he goes to get on the Hardy symbol cross, and it burns, and Jeff falls off, and he loses. And Brother Nero has now been deleted. Matt has even deleted his Twitter and everything, or took over his Twitter. So.
Yeah, took over his Twitter. The Matt lights the fire with the birthday candle, by the way, from the birthday party at the very beginning of the show, which is just like, this whole thing is so surreal. It's incredible. It's the Lucha Underground meets B movies meets Hardy intuition meets insanity. Like I have no words. I don't feel like I have enough good words to describe this, but it's certainly something really special.
Oh, yeah, God. And supposedly this was watched while they were in Japan, and the rumor goes that the reason why we all of a sudden have New Day going to the Wyatt's compound is because of this final deletion. So perhaps Battleground will be where WWE tries their hand at the final deletion.
Wow, let's
imagine?
see. Let's see if there's fireworks involved in that one. I don't know if they're going to do it as good. I just don't think they will.
I just see this coming off as a really, really bad attempt at a horror movie, and the stereotype of black people in horror movies, and oh boy. We could be
Wow.
in for a terrible, terrible treat there, guys.
Who knows?
I don't know if I could touch that one. I don't know if I could. I want to say something.
I've given you all the pitch in the world, Gary. Come on.
We got to be careful
Wait.
with all the stuff that's going on, right?
Exactly.
true.
But
That's
I'll just say it. Who dies first in this horror movie? It's not fair. I mean, but
Well, the Wyatts, they don't die. So.
Right.
yeah, that's my point, though. But anyway, I'm not gonna touch on that. Okay.
We're talking about a wrestling show here. It's all right, but I mean, just
yeah.
This is going to be interesting because for one, we never seen what the Wyatt's compound actually has. So, that's one to think about as well. We've never really seen that. Are they going to try to do any of the same stuff there? Are they going to try to better whatever Vince thinks is better? I mean, it's going to be fun. If they do try to do that, I don't think they're going to have the hokey music or whatever with that. They're going to I think I would have preferred actually sometimes to hear some of the live sound and not necessarily the music or whatever, but I'm sort of interested to see. I just think we're going to get a zillion copies of this, and this is going to be interesting for TNA because they can't possibly do this all the time. Jeremy Borash sort of hinted that they have enough to possibly do another sort of thing at the Hardy's compound, or what they had to cut from it. But I don't know. And the thing is too, a lot of people watched the YouTube video. They didn't even watch the whole show. So they didn't even know this had to do anything with TNA. They just watched this. And it's cool that they got 410,000 viewers or whatever, but you got a lot of people that watch this and go, oh man, this is the Hardys just doing something crazy, something stupid. And then what? Does it do anything for TNA at all? And that's the thing going forward. Once people realize, oh, it's just a wrestling show, this is a one-time thing, are they going to keep watching? And that's something that is certainly going to be, let's see what happens going forward,
Yeah. No, exactly. And, once again, I mean, this got a big pop. People loved this,
They were saying the saved wrestling.
Saved wrestling?
This really wasn't wrestling, but,
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. But I'll say it was fun. It was great. We thoroughly loved it. Apparently the internet loved it. Let's just hope that people got their eyes on TNA and want to watch more. And let's be honest, we at times have struggled on this show to cover TNA. This is not one of those times. And actually, for a little while now, we've actually, to an extent, enjoyed covering TNA because there's things in TNA that matter. They're good. Not the entire show, but parts of it that keep us actually caring. And I'm just saying, you can't crap on TNA like you used to. So, and one thing before we move on, I just want to say this: when we do go to that compound for the Wyatt family, I have two predictions. Okay, one of those predictions is maybe they do something like have Hillbilly Jim or something like that be in the town that says that's the direction that their house is. And then the other one is that's they're going to show up, the New Day is going to show up at the compound and find out that something terrifying is there besides the Wyatt family. They're going to open the door and Bob Backlund's going to be there talking to Darren Young. This is where he makes Darren Young great, at the Wyatt compound.
You know what? That would be amazing.
Just saying.
There's a large part of me that hopes that's true, Gary.
Now I want to see it.
Yeah, it's my idea though. So if they
I
use
could
it, they owe me money.
see Bob Backlund being just like one of those clowns. You just pan and he's sitting still, and all of a sudden he just jumps out.
Yeah. Or
his face is kind of scary.
I'm just saying, how they have those mannequin movies? Could be,
Yeah, exactly.
It comes to life when Darren Young's around. So, anyway. All right, guys. Well, that is TNA Impact Wrestling. We are going to move on, though, and we are going to do one last thing on this show, and that's crown a Superstar of the Week. So, we'll be right back with that next, guys.
Superstar of the Week.
Oh, we never give credit to De La Soul for being like the only thing that's licensed that stays in this show
Oh,
over the years.
I know, right? We never do. That's okay. But here we are, guys. We are going to get this list going, and we are going to give our 1 point to Mr. Dr. Wagner Jr., Paul.
Yeah, I mean the Lucha Libre legend shows up on Lucha Underground this week in a surprise move. He gets to be the fly in the ointment that is Son of Havoc and steal away his championship match for 250 G's. And man, this guy, I think he's going to bring something fun to the table for Lucha Underground.
With 2 points, Eddie Edwards regaining his X Division title, Sean.
Yeah, there was a couple of things that were better than this match-wise, and it's cool he won the X Division title, but he's obviously at least doing option C for now. Let's see if he gets the title back.
With 3 points, Shibata. Paul, can I give us an idea why?
Shibata retains his never openweight championship at the Kizuna Roadshow earlier this week in a really, really solid match with Hanma. Maybe not one of the better matches Shibata's had for that championship, but certainly a big deal, certainly worth mentioning.
And we knew this guy was going to be in the list because of, well, let's be honest, he put wrestling on the map with the entire internet, not just the wrestling community. Number 4 with 4 points, it is Matt Hardy.
Yeah, Final Deletion, and we just had a big segment on it, played clips, everything from stuff we enjoyed. Yeah, Final Deletion was awesome, and credit to that brainchild of Matt Hardy.
And, we, as much as we love Matt Hardy, we had to give 5 points to 2 guys who are awesome and who had a great match and really proved us right about a lot of things. Dash and Dawson.
Yeah, the Revival retained the NXT Tag Team Championships. Wow, easy enough for me to say. In a Dynamite 2 out of 3 Falls match with American Alpha. Personally, I think the best chapter in their trilogy there. They're just so good. They do a lot of the little things right, and those little things get them 5 points this week, and bring them into a tie for the highest ranked tag team in our scoring here with the Young Bucks at 8 points.
Oh, that's awesome. So they are definitely moving up, and you got to give them all the credit in the world once again, like Paul's saying, and they are our superstars of the week. So congratulations to Dash and Dawson. Well, man, this has been a fun show. We've had a lot of great things. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this has definitely been a fun-filled show. I've enjoyed every segment. This has been something that, I've been kind of curious about all week, how it was going to go, and it definitely was a lot better than I ever expected. So, just to let everybody know, we want to appreciate all that listen to us. We can always, definitely use your help, though, by, you go giving us a rating. Or, of course, a review. You can go do that on iTunes. Make sure, hit 5, 4 stars, whatever you want to give us. Just, help us out by doing that. It gives us a chance to be spread out. That way people can view us easier. And, of course, you can always hit us up on our Facebook page. If you're not a part of the Wrestling with the Max group on Facebook, you're missing out. It's not because of us. Trust me. We do a little bit. Sean posts a lot of different things on there news-wise, but we have a ton of people on that page who post lots of great clips, funny things, news. It's the place to be if you love wrestling. Trust me. So you want to go join that if you're not already a part of it. And, of course, subscribe to not only this podcast, but the W2M Network. It's a great place. It's growing week by week by week. I mean, I am so excited. We still got shows going to be in the future joining the W2M Network, but Sean was just on a podcast that just was freshly put on. Sean, I want you to tell us about that podcast. You actually got to be on the podcast, which was awesome. And, of course, tell us what's going on else on the W2M Network this week.
Yeah, it's called Jobber's Court. It's the first 2 episodes that we have, 19 and 20, and 20 is the one that I was on, talking about brand split, who we'd like to see back, who we wouldn't like to see back. They had a classic match where they talked about Samoa Joe and CM Punk 2 from ROH, and did some fantasy booking stuff there at the end and whatnot, which is fun. They do topics and stuff, much different than what we do. They don't cover shows or whatever, which a lot of the other, Randall does it in his own way, and Running Wild guys, they do it in their own conversational way as well. So everybody kind of has their way of covering these, and they don't even cover shows at all. They just have topics. They don't talk really about. I kind of, talk to them about. You might want to have a segment that might be topical with news, and then have a topic that doesn't have to do with news at all. Just to have it be a little bit more topical, but that's the only thing I kind of recommended them, because aside from that, they're really good, and the 2 hours or hour and a half that they last goes by really fast. So I think you should either, whether you check them out through the network or check them out through just Jobber's Court there on iTunes or wherever they're at. They're a pretty good group of guys. Just the video games to the max before we did this show. Talked about this Counter-Strike Go scandal that's going on. Pokemon Go is out and people are going nuts. I'm surprised there's been no car accidents with people having gym battles in the middle of streets, apparently, even. And thankfully for me, it hasn't worked very well on my phone. But geez, it's going crazy. I even saw a wrestler make a status that, hey, now that we have this Pokemon Go thing, get in your car and go to a wrestling show. You might catch Bulbasaur or something. So there, relating that back to wrestling. But we're doing the football show here in a little bit, doing first of our previews with the AFC West. We got Riders Galore talking about the teams there. And so that'll be fun to listen to for us and for you guys. And yeah, just hopefully everybody has a show this week, so that I didn't get to record FCU and Saki Live, so hopefully they'll put it out on iTunes or SoundCloud or something, and I can get it there for you. But everybody else should have a show. We hope.
Great. Awesome. So, once again, W2M Network is the place to be if you love listening to podcasts and you want to find plenty of other great podcasts besides ours. We just want you guys to have that opportunity. We're going to leave you guys on a better note than this, but I just want to mention one thing. We had some sad news, of course, come on before we started this podcast with the shootings in Dallas and police officers losing their lives. And our condolences go out to those families. And I just want to say this. I'm tired of hearing about all these bad news topics and all that.
Oh, and hearts go out to the man that was shot as well. That kind of started this whole BS. But
yeah, exactly. I just want to say this. We need to stop all the violence. Let's I know it sounds hippie or whatever you want to say, but it's time just to realize we're all people. We all bleed the same blood. Come on, people. Let's just love each other. There's no reason to be doing all these kind of things. I mean, you can vilify anybody of any job, race, gender. It's not good. Just love. That's the most important thing here, okay? Just had to throw that out there because I'm so sick of this bad news. I just want to hear about people giving each other hugs, for God's sakes.
They all can't be Bailey,
I know.
Shouldn't we all strive to be Bailey?
Yes.
Exactly. We need to. We need to put Bailey pictures everywhere so people will learn that. And hey, if you're having a bad day, watch Final Deletion. It'll make it all better. Anyway, well, guys, that's it for our show. We definitely appreciate you guys coming and checking us out again. Thank you for everybody that wished me a happy birthday. Definitely appreciate that, you guys. And we'll be back next Monday night live. And if you want to catch us up on the download, you can catch us on Tuesday morning. Until next time, guys, for me, for Sean, and for Paul, we just want you guys to always remember, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
Later.